Titans lose to the San Diego Chargers 43-35. You're watching the MJ Take on Sports Fan Entertainment. Hello and welcome to the MJ Take on Sports Fan Entertainment. Tennessee Titans lose to the San Diego Chargers by a score of 43-35, and you know what, again, I ain't even mad though. I said the same thing 2 weeks ago when they lost to the Indianapolis Colts. I ain't even mad though, because again, I've correctly predicted the Titans game. I've gotten 7 straight Titans game correctly in terms of who's going to win. I know this team very well, and I knew that they were just going to go to San Diego and lose. Okay, San Diego's a better team. Yes, they had a worse record, but they were 3-5. They've had a bunch of close losses, and they've choked games away. They're very good. You know, this is a team that went to Atlanta and got a tough victory. We're not capable of such a thing right now. We're not as good as they are. They're a better football team. I think they proved that today, despite the fact that I think you saw plenty of flaws on both teams. We had more of them. Let's talk about them, and then we will discuss all of the games from today, because I did not make an early game recap in case you haven't noticed already. So let's start with this. The Tennessee Titans defense got absolutely exposed today, and this defense has concerned me for quite some time. I don't think it's very good at all. I think their pass rush has been very good. I think it's been by far the best component of this defense, but beyond that, they're not very good at all, man. Their secondary is weak outside of Jason McCourty. I've seen nothing from Rashad Johnson this season. I've seen little to nothing from Parrish Cox. Little to nothing from Denoris Cersei. Damian Stafford can have a nice hit every now and then, but he's not very good in coverage. Bryce McCain, or whatever that idiot's name is, Bobby McCain, Bryce McCain, that's who he is. Valentino Blake. I mean, come on, man. Of course they stink. Listen to these names I just said out there. Valentino Blake and Parrish Cox and Rashad Johnson. Of course these guys aren't good, of course. And they got exposed. Similar to how they got exposed 2 weeks ago when they faced the Indianapolis Colts. They got exposed. When they go up against a good quarterback, they don't have a chance in the world, because a good quarterback is going to say, hey, wait a minute. These guys aren't very good. Watch as I throw all over them. In the tape room, in the film room, he says this, and then he goes out on the field and he does this. But the most shocking thing today to me was the run defense and how porous it was as they let up an incredible amount of yardage to Melvin Gordon, who finished with 196 yards on 32 carries today. The most crucial carry, the most hurtful carry, occurred at the end of the game in the fourth quarter with a chance to stop the Chargers on 3rd and 7 to get the ball back and give this offense and give Marcus Mariota a chance to win this football game. They let Melvin Gordon run down the field for 50, 60 yards and ice the game. And let me just say, this was a horrible decision by Mike McCoy. I don't care that it worked. Why the hell would you run the ball on 3rd and 7 with 2 minutes and 30 plus seconds left on the clock? You're a team that's been known for choking games this season. Why don't you throw the ball with Phillip Rivers, who you can trust with your life, and say, win this the game? Now, it worked. Okay, but I don't care. It was a dumb decision, and we didn't make them pay for it, because we had guy after guy let Melvin Gordon go. I mean, he broke 3 tackles on this run to win the game, and we lost the game. Defense got exposed. And I don't know why people love Avery Williamson. He's a nice guy. He's a good guy. He wanted to wear the 9/11 cleats, and he likes to have a flag every now and then out of the tunnel, and he's a nice interview. The guy stinks. He doesn't have one run stuff on the season up to this point. I mean, this is absurd. You're an inside linebacker, a middle linebacker, a run support linebacker. I mean, he's not a guy that you expect to do much in coverage. Okay, fine. Well, then you better be damn good against the run. And just think about it. Recall this entire season. When was the last time you seen Avery Williamson stop a running back behind the line of scrimmage? Oh, you can't remember because it hasn't happened. The guy's not good. We need to get a linebacker in here that can make those plays, and we've had linebackers like this before. Recall Keith Bullock and the plays he would constantly make behind the line of scrimmage. Stephen Tulick, who used to make plenty of plays beyond the line of scrimmage, stuffing running backs, not letting them get extra yardage at all. We need to get a playmaking linebacker in here. I'm sick of Avery Williamson. Wesley Woodyard can be good in coverage from time to time, but he is not very good either. We need some run-stopping linebackers in Tennessee, man. I mean, just think about it. Avery Williamson is so much closer to Akeem Ayers and to just the worst linebackers in the league, to James Laurinaitis, and just the worst linebackers in the league. Then he is close to Luke Kuechly. Then he is close to Jamie Collins. Then he is close to Dante Hightower. He's not even close to these playmaking linebackers that make plays every single Sunday, run stuffs, tackles for loss, sacks, interceptions, plays. He doesn't make plays. He doesn't stop the damn run, and that's what he's supposed to do. I'm so sick of Avery Williamson. Sean Spence, same thing. We already know he's not good, and still he's proving it to us time and time again. Just awful run defense today by this Tennessee Titans defense. I mean, just horrible, just horrendous. And the defense was horrible. The defense was god-awful. Jarrell Casey got a huge sack today. Good. Brian Arakpo got injured. So unfortunate. I'm so sick of, I'm not sick of him, but Kevin Dodd needs to show up. I haven't seen him in about 5 weeks. I don't know where he is. He needs to show up because if Brian Arakpo misses extended amount of time, we're going to need to see Kevin Dodd. It's an L. And Marcus Mariota. Let's talk about this. Now, a lot of people are going to criticize him. I don't know what's wrong with a lot of these Titans fans that criticize Marcus Mariota. And I'm not saying they should be absent from criticism entirely, but I think y'all have forgotten what a good quarterback in the NFL looks like. Yeah, that's it right there. There is not one quarterback in the NFL that can be perfect from game to game outside of Tom Brady. He is literally the only one. Phillip Rivers had a horrible game last week against the Denver Broncos in a loss, okay? Ben Roethlisberger had a horrible game today against the whoever they faced today. I can't even remember because I'm so pissed off right now. Oh, they faced the Baltimore Ravens. He was awful, just awful. I mean, these quarterbacks are going to have their bad games, or just not their perfect games, I should say. Marcus Mariota, okay? If I were to grade his performance today, I would probably give him a B. He wasn't perfect. He had the huge mistakes. He had the interceptions. He had the fumble. God, I'm so sick of the fumbles. Dog, you're gonna fumble, okay? I've had this conversation with you time and time again. You're my brother, you're my friend, you're my pal. You're really not, but I like you, okay? But dog, your ass is gonna fumble. Hold on to the football with 2 hands because your ass is going to fumble the football. But with all that said, he still threw 3 touchdowns today. He still led 2 great drives, 2 great hurry-up drives where they went down the field in a hurry. And they got points on the board. That's what this team needs to do. That's where they're successful. And he is still a good quarterback in this league. But even the best quarterbacks, man, they're going to have bad games. Drew Brees had a bad game a couple weeks ago against the Kansas City Chiefs. Just not a perfect game. It actually wasn't that bad, but it's just not a perfect game. Every quarterback in this league, they're going to have games where they're not perfect. Okay? So if you're criticizing Marcus Mariota, honestly, you're a clown. Okay, yes, you can say, oh, he didn't play well. Yes, he did not play well. But I'm already hearing just horrible talk about, oh, we can't win with this guy. What are you, a clown? We just won last week with this guy. God, can we stop that baboonery and that buffoonery? I don't want to hear it. I don't want to see it. And I know I'm going to see it in here in the comments, and I can't wait for that. So it's a loss. It's an L for this team. Ultimately, this is why, again, I can't pick us to win the AFC South. Next week, we go up against who? The Green Bay Packers. And I know what you are going to say. They lost to the Indianapolis Colts today. We can beat them. And I say, okay, just wait and see what happens. When our secondary, when our defense goes up against Aaron Rodgers, and you really think we're going to pull that one out? It ain't happening. We still have to go to Kansas City. We still have to host Denver. We still have to go to Indianapolis and to Chicago. And I know Chicago isn't very good record-wise, but they got a hell of a victory last week on Monday Night Football. So I can't pick us to win the division, and I don't know how anyone can with any confidence. The only hope, the only chance is that the Texans just absolutely stink it up in the second half of this season and finish with a 3-5 record to go 8-8. And if this is possible and we go 8-8 and somehow we have a better divisional record than them because they lost both matchups against the Jacksonville Jaguars, then sure, it is possible. But man, look at what happened today. We lost and our defense got exposed and there's troubles. And we still have a tough schedule at Kansas City, hosting Denver, going to Indianapolis, going to Chicago, going to Jacksonville, which is no W. It should be, but it's not a certified certain W indeed. So we'll see what happens moving forward. But ultimately, this loss, even though I expected it, and even though I started this video saying it really didn't hurt me that much, as I keep talking, it kind of seems that it did. We'll see where this team can go from here. Overall, though, I'm happy with this team. I mean, I thought we were going to be 7-9 before the season. It's looking like 7-9 or 8-8, right now during the season. So we're exactly where I think we should be. Just some frustrating things. Just some of these players are just, they're just bad. And we keep liking them because we like them, but they're not very good and they need to leave. Get rid of Avery Williamson. I'm so sick of him. Honestly, I am. All right, let's move on to the other games. And let's start with the afternoon games. Then we'll transition to the early games. Indianapolis Colts get it done against the Green Bay Packers 31-26. And, I feared. I said in my predictions and picks video, first of all, I had the Colts covering the +7 spread. It was +7 was way too much. And I said, guys, don't be surprised if the Colts win the game. I have the Packers winning 31-28, but I said, guys, don't be surprised if the Colts win this game. And the Colts won this game. Packers defense, secondary, not good. They're still missing Demarius Randall. They're still missing Quentin Rollins. Offensively, so many issues. They don't want to show up until it's the second half of the football game, and by then it's too late. They're going to be the Titans next week, but that's not good enough. I think the Detroit Lions might win this division. I'm going to come out with midseason predictions in the middle of this week. You need to look out because I think I might have the Lions winning this division. But as for the Colts, you stay alive in the AFC South. I have no idea who you face next week. I have to look at that. But for now, you have to be in love with this victory. You're still alive. You're going to have to win divisional matchups, but you can certainly do that. You've proven to be able to do that in the past couple of years. Beat the Titans, beat the Texans, beat the Jags, and you'll be right back in it. Let's move on to the Saints at the San Francisco 49ers. And the 49ers, man, they just keep getting ran all over. Hey, let's give a round of applause to them. They set up an NFL record today as they allowed a 100-yard rusher for the 7th straight game. Just absurd. I mean, just ridiculous and preposterous. And they gave it to Mark Ingram, who isn't a great 100-yard running back by any means, and they still gave it away today. I don't know who they face next week, but if you own that running back in fantasy, you better start him. 49ers, they have issues. And I don't know how long it's going to take them to rebuild this roster. I don't know if it's going to be with Chip Kelly or Trent Baalke or this guy or that guy, but man, they have work to do. We move on to the Carolina Panthers at the LA Rams, and look, this game, it went exactly the way I thought it would go. In fact, I thought it'd be a little higher scoring. I had it 20-19, but ended up being 13-10. And, the Panthers, this is very interesting because they weren't very impressive today. Defensively, they were, but offensively, they were not. Next week, they host the 6-2 Chiefs, and I think they could win that game. And I really want to pick them to win that game, but I wasn't in love with today, but you got the victory. And as for the Rams, the season is absolutely starting to just slide. You've lost 4 straight games. You're the team that I thought you were before the season. There were a couple of phases to this Rams season. First of all, it was before the season where I thought that they stunk. Week 1 where they confirmed to me that they stunk. And then weeks 2, 3, and 4 where they were someone else. I don't know who they were. They were a good football team. What the hell? And then they're back to stinking it again. And I'm thrilled because I'm a damn Titans fan and we have y'all's pick. So y'all just keep on losing games. We'll have a top 10 pick. I'll be thrilled with that. And then who knows what we're going to take with that. But anyway, you got to start Jared Goff. Okay, and I know that he stinks, I saw it in the preseason, but Case Keenum isn't much better. So just go ahead, start Jared Goff, get his growing pains in, and there will be growing pains because from what I saw in the preseason, Jared Goff stinks. They've been sheltering him up to this point because they know it to be true. And we all saw in preseason on Hard Knocks, the guy's just not very good right now. You're not saying he won't be in the future, but for now he's not. But with that said, I mean, I saw Blake Bortles, who was bad in the Jaguars preseason and who I thought was not ready to start and do well. So even though I think he might stink, he may come in and do well. So let's just find out for sure. Just start Jared Goff. It's time. Let's move on. Dallas Cowboys beat the Cleveland Browns. You know, I told you to take the Cowboys -7. Hopefully you did. And they won the game. And they took care of business. And, you know, yet again, people are going to say, no, don't start Tony Romo. And, you know, that's a discussion that we have to continue to have. Oh, man, this discussion is going to continue for weeks and weeks and weeks. Me, again, if you want to win a Super Bowl, to me, you start Tony Romo. If he stinks, fine, put Dak Prescott back in there. You have such a sizable lead right now. To me, in the NFC, it really doesn't matter. It really does not matter. You guys have a 2-game lead over everybody in the NFC. Let's experiment. You know, let's make sure that we can win the Super Bowl because I think you have a lead to the point where you can experiment a little bit. So I would start Romo just because of that. But, you know, we'll see what they decide. And as for the Browns, people are going to use this game as evidence to say, hey, look, the Cleveland Browns are not going to win a game. And watch, guys, they're going to win a game. They're going to win 2 games. I think they're going to beat possibly the Ravens this week and then the New York Giants. And then they could even beat the Pittsburgh Steelers too. So don't worry about the Cleveland Browns too much. They're going to win a game. They're definitely going to win a game. Trust me on that. Don't worry about the Browns. They're going to win a game. Let's move on. Chiefs beat the Jacksonville Jaguars 19-14, and I told you to take the Jaguars +7. I told you, who cares about Nick Foles? He's not very good. And the Jaguars, although they're not very good, they're going to compete in this game because it's just time for them to compete in a game, honestly. And it's time for the Chiefs to compete in a game as well. Because the Chiefs have been blowing teams out lately. It was time for them to be in a competitive game, for them to show up, not exactly be 100%, you know, not be in the game mentally, but still end up winning the game. And I was completely right here. Completely right from head to toe. And, you know, we'll see when it comes to the Jaguars. I mean, they stink. We'll see if they decide to stick with Blake Bortles because that's a discussion they maybe need to start having. Their offense, they just can't move the football consistently at all. And as for the Chiefs, you're 6-2. But, and I've picked every single game you guys have won during this winning streak, I've picked you to win. Okay, so I buy into this 6-2 in terms of that. But will you win the AFC West, man? I don't know. I still think you're actually the worst of the Broncos and the Raiders. I think you're the worst. We'll see as these weeks develop, but that's still what I feel right now. Let's move on. Dolphins beat the New York Jets 27-23. Jay Ajayi with another 100-plus yard game. Not a 200-plus yard game, but another 100-plus yard game. Great game. You know, had a great early touchdown. You know, ran the ball well in the fourth quarter when they needed him to, and they won the game. And the Dolphins, we need to start thinking wild card. I'm not saying they're going to make it. I'm saying we need to start thinking that, you know, have them in your little playoff picture, in the hunt. You know, put them there. I'm not saying they're going to make it. I still think Ryan Tannehill will limit this team ultimately. He's not good. He's really game managing right now, to be quite honest with you. He is thrilled that Jay Ajayi is playing as well as he is because, man, this guy has just saved the Dolphins season. I thought they were going to go 5-11. Now they look like they're going to be much better than that. You know, relatively better than that. We'll see. As for the Jets, the Jets, you know, they actually played okay today. And they host the Los Angeles Rams next week. And I need to see who's starting at quarterback for the Rams. I think I'm going to pick the Jets to win that one. The Jets are saving their season as well. You know, they're not as awful as they appeared to be in September and October, although they're still not very good. I think they're better. You know, maybe they'll finish 7-9. I didn't think that was possible a month ago. I think it's possible now. Let's move on. Giants beat the Philadelphia Eagles 28-23. And, you know, the Giants, I don't know what to think about this football team. Yes, I picked them to win this game, but this game did not go the way I thought it would. I thought they should have lost this game probably twice, as Eli Manning gave, I thought, the Eagles every opportunity to win this game, but the Eagles just couldn't move the football, just cannot get a first down, just cannot get a touchdown to win the game when they needed to. Man, they went down to the Giants' territory and ended up with field goals and no points so many times it was absurd, and the Giants won the game. Now, next week, the Giants host the Cincinnati Bengals, and I think there's a huge matchup, and I'm not sure I'm picking the Giants to win that game. I understand it's in New York. I understand the Bengals haven't been very impressive, but I'm not sure I can trust the Giants right now after this game, where they really should have blew out the Eagles, but they just kept giving them opportunity after opportunity to come back in the game. I don't love that at all. I'll have to consider that over the upcoming week. But hey, you got the victory. Odell Beckham and Sterling Shepard both ended up with touchdowns. Odell Beckham had 2, but neither of them had more than 50 yards. So this offense, it's just a weird offense. It's a bad offense. They tried to integrate Paul Perkins into this offense this week. Didn't really, not too much avail. Didn't really do much at all. So, they're trying to figure stuff out, but it's not really working. Next game, Baltimore Ravens they hosted the Pittsburgh Steelers, and, I picked the Steelers to win this game. And, I went off the premise that, hey, they had a bye week last week, and, they should be able to win this game, but there's a couple things. Number one, I think the Steelers just stink. Just S-T-I-N-K on the road, okay? Not overall, but on the road, man, they stink. Remember, they got blown out at Philadelphia. They lost to the Dolphins at Miami, and now they lost at Baltimore. Okay, so I think the Steelers just stink on the road. Now, at home, they're still pretty good. Okay, this is still a team that blew out the Chiefs and, won a pretty good game against the Bengals, I believe. So they're still good. I'm still projecting them to win the AFC North. I'm still doing that. But I think when the Steelers are on the road, don't pick them because they're just not very good on the road at all. And I think they may lose at Cleveland, too. If they keep this up, they can't run the ball. They can't throw the ball on the road. They just can't do it. Let's move on to the Detroit Lions getting a huge win at the Minnesota Vikings. And hey, Vikings fans, how y'all doing? Okay, we've had a very interesting relationship, me and Vikings fans, on this channel. First of all, before the season, I said they'd go 8-8. I hated the Sam Bradford trade, and I said the offensive line wouldn't be able to protect him. I said that he wasn't very good. I said that the running game wouldn't be that good, and that was with Adrian Peterson. Now without Adrian Peterson, they're in trouble. And now they started 5-0, and then, oh my God, you're an idiot, you're a clown, you're a fool. What the hell were you talking about? And now you're seeing what the hell I was talking about. This is exactly the way I thought this Viking season would go now. Now, the question is, have they gotten to a point where it doesn't, well, they're still going to make it anyway because they start out with such strong work. Now, we're going to see, first of all, they've lost 3 straight games, so they need to win a game. I go through the schedule. I still see a number of wins on this schedule, okay? But they're just not getting lucky anymore. They got lucky. They got a couple punt returns for touchdowns, and they got a couple balls, fumbling their way. Mariota gave them the game in week 1, and they had this and that, and now they're not really getting those plays. They had the Lions now get lucky on them by going down the field in 27 seconds and getting a field goal. So now they're getting unlucky. So it's very interesting. I don't know what's going to happen. Again, I have my midseason predictions coming out this week. Will the Vikings be in the playoffs? I'm not sure. I know this. The Detroit Lions have won, 4 out of their last 5 games. I think as of this moment, they might be my NFC North champion when I make my midseason predictions video this upcoming week. So you will see. But, man, they look good. Matthew Stafford looks great. I mean, this guy is leading this team. He is absolutely superb. My problem with the Lions is they still can't run the football consistently. They just can't do it. And they're just inconsistent defensively, just not very good. I mean, they were okay today, but just not very good overall. They got lucky with some balls that didn't go Stafford's way and, just some BS, honestly. So we'll see when it comes to the Lions, but I'm starting to think about the playoffs for the Lions. I really am. So there you go. Those are my takeaways. Oh, one more, actually. I didn't talk about the Thursday night game, so let me talk about it now. So the Bucs, they got absolutely trounced by the Atlanta Falcons, and I picked the Bucs to win this game. It was my one and only upset pick this week because I didn't like any of the upsets. I just said, okay, I'll pick the Bucs because I want an upset. I really didn't think it, to be honest. And the Bucs, they couldn't get it done. Mike Evans had a great game, but as I keep telling you, Jameis Winston, he needs more weapons. I mean, he just doesn't have weapons right now. It's Mike Evans, and that is it. There is no other weapons on this Tampa Bay Bucs team. They do not have a number 2 wide receiver worth a damn. I don't care what Adam Humphries does in this week or that week. He's not good. He's a slot receiver at best, and not a very good slot receiver. They need a number 2 wide receiver. They need number 3. They need a consistent number 4. I think they need a tight end. Cameron Brate. Are you kidding me? This guy's a backup tight end. They need so many things offensively, and this is a team. Remember, this team started 6-6 last year, and then they lost their last 4 games. There is an argument to be made that they are worse this year than they were last year. And we're going to find out for sure. To me, next week they host the kind of hot Chicago Bears. If they lose that game, without a doubt, to me, they're worse this year than they were last year, and they're headed for a worse record or same record this year as they got last year. So we're going to see next week. To me, is a huge, they need to win at home. They can't win at home. They need to do it next week as they host the Chicago Bears. If they don't do it, then man, it's such a shame because Jameis Winston has such a great game, and it's wasted because y'all couldn't stop them defensively. The defense stinks. Vernon Hargreaves, I tried to warn you. I said, look, I get it. We like him. He's fiery. He's physical. He's small. He's not very fast. He takes too many risks, and we all saw the game against Alabama versus Amari Cooper, and the guy got ripped to shreds by Amari Cooper, and I didn't like his prospects after that moment. And I saw it time and time again, and even the next season, he just wasn't very good against the best wide receivers. And you're seeing in the NFL, he's not that good. He's getting out physical, he's getting bullied, and he ain't that good. So there you go. I'm done tooting my own horn. This has been the MJ Take on Sports Fan Entertainment. What were your thoughts on the Titans game? What were your thoughts on the week 9 games? Comment down below. I want to know. I will be back for the Sunday night football game recap. I guarantee you of that. And again, I've been saying it this whole video. In the middle of the week, I will come out with my mid-season predictions. There will be some shock and awe from all of you. I can almost guarantee that. So there you go. Until next time, this has been the MJ Take on Sports Fan Entertainment, and I'm out. Peace.